What's up? What's up? What's happening? It's yours truly, Javon Freeman, back with another one. I want to start this off by saying at the Instagram page at b.o.n.experience. Give me a like, comment, share, subscribe. Give me a thumbs up in the comment section below just to let me know that you tap it in. Also want to say thank you to my 8 subscribers for rocking out with me. I'm super appreciative. Anything else? Oh yeah, also give me a dislike as well. I ain't tripping on the dislikes. They just let me know what you guys are rocking with. Also in the comment section below, let me know what you think of the new look. My face hasn't been this smooth since I was in middle school. Don't really like it, but I broke down why I made this decision in the vlog. I'm gonna be posting that video shortly, maybe in a couple days, by the end of the week or something like that. I think this is gonna be a good one. Prosperity preaching. I don't know where they're gonna go with it, but I think it's a decent conversation. So let's tap in with it, see what they got to say.
Break down the history of prosperity preaching and its negative impact on the black church.
That's a serious question. The history of prosperity. First of all, let me say this: that prosperity, people wanting to prosper, has been around since the beginning of mankind, right? You got some tribe living in a village somewhere praying for rain because they want their harvest to be better than last year. They're praying. This is a form of prosperity, so it's not tied to just our modern context. But in terms of the church itself, there is a prominent preacher. His name was E.W. Kenyon. He's seen as being one of the leading figures of what is considered modern prosperity preaching. Now, prosperity preaching has to do not just with wealth, it has to do with health, your overall well-being, right? That God wants us to prosper in all phases of our lives. A later figure who picked this up was a preacher, a famous preacher named Kenneth Hagin. A lot of these were charismatic Pentecostal preachers, right? Now, in terms of the African-American context, you have figures like Daddy Grace or Father Divine. I mean, these are early preachers who really took on the prosperity message. And somebody like Daddy Grace, for instance, he sold products that he would bless. These commercials we used to see, if you want, blessed water, or he had blessed toothpaste, all this kind of stuff he would sell. Now, for most people, they don't have a problem with prosperity gospel in terms of health or even congregants achieving some kind of superior economic status. They have a problem with preachers start making a bunch of money and they're having private jets and they're driving around Rolls Royces and so forth. And that is something that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I always, even as a kid, I found it weird. You're sitting here asking for tithes, but I never seen Jesus come down and put his hand in the bucket. And then on top of it, a lot of places they ask for tithes. The pastor, preacher, members of the congregation, they sitting there in mini mansions, driving $100,000, $200,000 vehicles, and you got paint falling off the window ledges. We still sitting in the same benches from the 1930s. The cushions been in there. You take the cushions off, and you got a dust cloud the moment you smack it, trying to clean it. Almost like you taking the erasers off the chalkboard. You in detention class trying to clean the chalk erasers. Man, that was something that as a kid, I understood this, but let's get back into this.
That even some of the early figures in American prosperity gospel preaching had a problem with. So for instance, Kenneth Hagin, this is a few decades ago. This is not like back in the early 20th century. He wasn't comfortable with, preachers say like a creflo dollar today. Taking the message, making it almost purely economical in a sense. So for them, the comprehensive view of what it meant to be, to prosper in God, or whatever the case may be, became too focused on economics. And that the economic focus is what a lot of people have a problem with in terms of the African-American community. Because you have persons in the African-American community who are claiming prosperity and their whole livelihood doesn't reflect that yet. So for instance, the person who's saying, well, God wants me to be blessed, I'm gonna get a Mercedes, but I'm still living in the projects. Or you have the person that says, God wants me to be blessed.
I'll be honest, that's just poor mindset, and poor mindset elicits piss poor behavior. I break this down in a lot of videos. I'm gonna keep saying it till the walls fall down and everybody ears start bleeding. A lot of people are financially ignorant, and it's one thing to sit there and have all these degrees and you in debt. You make maybe 100,000, but you sitting there 200, 300,000 in debt, and you try to keep up with the lifestyle. You in the hole. And then you got somebody that's making 60,000, no debt, and they winning. They making proper investments. They retiring before the age of 60. They retiring at 40 something. Maybe didn't even have to work a government job. They just worked an honest job. Whether it was a trade, giving back to the community, whatever it was, made 60,000, maybe before taxes, so they making even less. They invest in living below their means, and then what happens? They sitting there retiring and they paying for their children's education. Uh, it's piss poor behavior, which is elected from piss poor mindset. But what do I know?
Take out some crazy mortgage on a house when they're working at Walmart or something like that. So that's where the imbalance comes in. You have communities who don't have the means to flourish economically, but yet they're still hearing this message that this is what God wants them to do. So I think that's the biggest problem many people have with it.
Are preachers in a rough spot? Because I've noticed that preachers who don't preach a prosperity doctrine, their attendance seems a little light.
But this started years ago after the Second World War, when this country saw the biggest rise in the middle class in world history in terms of wealth, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had parishioners or congregants who went to church. They didn't want to hear about the blessings of poverty anymore. They want to follow the preacher who was living in some small parsonage who was not economically secure. They wanted to see the way they were living reflected in the pulpit. So that's why they wanted to see ministers who were living well.
That is, in other words, keeping up with the Joneses. And I'm going to say it, the elder generations have failed us. And I'm not saying it lacking compassion. I'm saying it because even for taking what you knew, we know for a fact if prior generations, right? And I'm gonna trademark this. If prior generations were just as smart, if not smarter than what we are today, then that means that they were fuck ups back then too, because there are fuck ups today as well. I mean, I know people that sit there got a new car every other week, but they living in a car. They got a new chick in a new car, but they ain't got no food in their cabinet. They can't maintain a job. They sitting there always asking for $1. But yet you live in the right way though. You can't put down the weed. You can't put down the alcohol. Man, please.
And to be honest, another thing that happened is that's when a lot of pastors began to follow this model of the businessman, being economically successful, and the churches were viewed as being places where you could have could attain some level of economic success. So it wasn't all, figures like Daddy Grace again or Father Divine, parishioners too, because they started to live better, and because they started to move to the suburbs, and they started to have 2 cars and the 4-bedroom, 2-bedroom house and the fenced-in yard and all that. They wanted
Keeping up with the Joneses,
or preachers, in a way to reflect what they were doing and to let them, in many ways, make them feel comfortable with their lifestyles. And I think that's where the connect came to. So part of it were certain leaders who exploited it, but it's also parishioners who again began to become more affluent in the white community, predominantly, and later became took hold of the African American community, but basically in the white community is where it started, and wanted.
And I think that was a great little segment. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Also, let me know what you think of the new look. Give me a like, comment, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know every time I'm dropping something. Till next time, ciao.